Yo, what up guys? Welcome back to Sneaker Stories. As always, I'm your host Chris Jack. Today, checking out the 4D Forward Tokyo edition. Without further ado, let's check them out. Alright, so first things first, the 4D Forward. This is a shoe I've been dying to get my hands on for so long, since the first photos came out of this entirely new, I guess, 4D lattice midsole that was leaked quite a long time ago. There were various sort of samples, I guess, prototypes, which we'll get into a little bit in this video. Just disclaimer up front, I will be shooting a full 4D Forward video sometime in August, where I'm really going to go into the differences between the different lattice structures, you know, the technology behind this, and some of the other models that are yet to come. But this particular one is one of those shoes, and if you guys follow me on my personal Instagram page at Chris Jack, is one of those shoes I just could not wait for or risk a size being wrong or something like that for online. I literally got straight in my car, went down to the Adidas store here in the waterfront in Cape Town, and picked up a pair of these with immediate effect. They're not only amazing in the photos, but in hand and on foot, they are even better. I'm actually quite sure, I think around like 15 to 20 of you guys who follow me on that page went out and bought this shoe as well, at least from what you've told me, after I posted the photos of it in store and at least on foot. And I honestly back the shoe. Like, it is really just that amazing. You guys know already that I'm a huge fan of the 4D technology. I've pretty much had all of them, and in that video I'm actually going to bring out my full collection of 4Ds and kind of go through all the different ones, and ending to where we are right here with the 4D Forward. Now, what the 4D Forward is, in a nutshell, is just a re-engineering of this lattice midsole. In fact, the global director of Adidas footwear, Stefan Scholten, actually said that they went through 5 million different lattice options that they could use here to fine-tune to achieve the goal of what they were trying to go with these shoes, which ultimately was forward propulsion of the shoes. So you guys can kind of remember, and they said this in one of their press releases that I read on Hypebeast, I think, when Boost came out in like 2013, they had like in all the stores like a Boost pad, and you could drop a ball on it, and it would basically bounce back up, and you could really see like the different sort of bounce, or the benefit of bounce that you were getting from Boost. And with 4D, like if you were to drop it on this 4D Forward midsole over here, it would drop straight down and then spring off that way. I think we got some pretty cool graphics there from one of the videos I found online, really just demonstrating what that looks like. However, full disclosure, I haven't run in these or anything like that, so I'm not really sure what the benefits are. Like, I haven't been running a lot. I think some of you guys know I had quite a significant injury last year, and haven't really run since then. I don't really plan on running in these myself, but I can see, and even like Andy, who's filming right over here right now, he went out and got a pair of these immediately after I bought them back, and he's been wearing them pretty much every single day, and is a little bit more active than me, and he can definitely feel that forward propulsion that you get just from this lattice midsole. But one of the reasons I really wanted the shoe, and not a lot of people know this, this is actually going to be the official podium shoe for the Olympic Games in Tokyo, taking place just in a couple of weeks, if all still goes to plan, I think. And it's quite interesting because back in, I think, the Rio Olympics, which was 2016 if I'm not mistaken, medal winners that were sponsored Adi athletes were actually given the Futurecraft one, this one over here if I'm not mistaken, as the podium shoe. So now they're kind of bringing that back. They've got the sort of first generation here and the current time generation over here, both Olympic podium shoes, which I think is so special. And this is why this particular 4D Forward is dubbed the Tokyo. But just to show you in and around the shoe, the outsole over here has got a unique traction pattern, which is the first time I'm seeing it on a 4D shoe. So I'm assuming that's unique to the new 4D Forward silhouette. And when it comes to the midsole, obviously I've already spoken about this being a completely re-engineered midsole to propel you forward. One thing I absolutely love about this, and it's maybe a little bit difficult to get on camera, but if I move the shoe a little bit, you pick up these orange tones or hues that basically look like they're glowing from the middle of the shoe out. And with the overlay image there, I'll be able to show you the middle section of the 4D is actually that orange color, with the exterior being the slightly sort of creamy-ish orangey color, and it just picks up the light so nicely and really like adds a proper level of depth to the midsole of the shoe, just from like an aesthetic point of view. Now moving into the upper of the shoe, this is all recycled sustainable materials. I don't think there's any virgin polyester in the shoe. I think it might be, and don't quote me, I think like 30% of it being completely recycled. Prime green, Primeknit, of course. It's very, very comfortable on foot. Like I basically slipped these on. I mean, I already knew they were coming home, whether they were uncomfortable or not personally, but they were extremely comfortable as well. And then just the 3 stripes over here, just slapping that Adidas branding on the side there. These are actually really cool. They're a little bit iridescent, a little bit reflective. And as well as the eyelets or the fused overlays that basically secure these little black rope eyelets in here are also reflective. Now the knit itself is very nice. It's quite soft to touch. It's also got this like little bit of like a glossy texture to it. It just really, really contrasts nicely with the rest of the coloration, like the black stripes and the sort of orange hues that you get. From a lacing perspective, you've got 1 set of laces provided with the shoe. They just look like a standard set. Actually quite like thick. I gather these are like kind of recycled materials as well, but that I do not know for sure just yet. But either way, it just ties in the tonality of the white within the upper. At the top of the tongue here, you've got this gold Adidas performance logo, which I believe is also a reflective material there as well. And then swinging around to the heel section of the shoe, this lattice midsole is just, oh, I love 4D so much. But just above that, you've got this overlay piece here with the 4D forward logo. Now the 4D forward logo over here is basically, it just kind of looks like 4DDD, but the second DD is like the fast forward button that you would get on like a Walkman or any kind of like media player. I think that's a really cool logo. It's like tied in really nicely with everything there. And then just looking inside of the shoe, this is a sock-like construction, so it's really going to hug your foot nicely. But the insole of it, and I'm going to get into a little bit more on this insole in a bit, but it's just a standard insole over here, similar to what you'd kind of get in an Ultra Boost, slightly thicker, with the 40 forward logo in the heel section. The rest of that is just done in this kind of like bright orangey color. And then looking inside of the shoe, you can just see the strobel here is kept orange. I think that maybe, and I haven't seen the black pair of these, which was the first like sort of OG release colorway of the silhouette. I think I remember seeing someone say something about being able to see the lattice through there. So I don't know if on the Tokyo edition that they've added the strobel. I'll have to check that for my proper video on 40 forward coming in a few weeks time. But that brings me to my next point, which was sizing on this pair. Now I am a true size UK 9 in Adidas. That is a US 9.5 for those of you watching from the States. With 40, it's always going to be safer to try on a new model, in my experience, like before buying it. You know, obviously if you buy online, you can return, but you do risk losing your size, especially when there are half sizes involved. Now, just to give you an idea of my sizing preference, like in the OGs over here, which restocked recently, I would need a half size up just because they are quite tight on the upper. With the 40 forward over here, I do find at true to size, they fit very, very comfortably. Like the width of the shoe and you know how much it hugs my foot really fits well. I do find them just a little bit too long in the toe, and that could completely just be my foot shape. I know Andy took true to size for him, which is a UK 10, and he doesn't really find like the same, you know, amount of space in the toe box than I do. So it really is like just down to your foot shape at the end of the day. Like everyone is going to be different when it comes to sizing. But just to clarify what I did here, I tried on the 8.5, which is a half size down, and my true to size. Both of them fit me well. The 8.5 was slightly just a little bit too narrow for me. Like I think like after all day wear, it might have actually just been a little bit too tight on my foot. However, when I removed the insole from the 8.5, the fit was absolutely bang on perfect. I wouldn't change a thing. But what I'm quite interested now, just kind of seeing that mesh strobel that's overlaying the lattice midsole that sits underneath the insole of the shoe. If that wasn't there on the previous version, then I would say like an 8.5 or half size down would have just fitted absolutely perfect, because even though it's just a little bit of mesh there, it's still adding you know, a little bit of space to the overall space available in the shoe. But either way, I'm super happy that I did take a half size down, because I do think you'll get a little bit of stretch within this prime green Primeknit upper, you know, with where for me that was my best fit that I wanted to go with. However, if they didn't have a UK 8.5, a UK 9, a true to size would have been fine. I wouldn't have known any different, and I would have just made that work. It's not enough like bad sizing or too much space to like not buy the shoe, if you know what I mean. Now, the last thing I want to just talk about is the cost of the shoe. Now, It's quite difficult. Like I've seen a lot of different reviews and spoken to people from around the world, other Adi collectors, you know, that are in Australia, New Zealand, Europe, America, and it seems like the pricing is just like a little bit all over for each of these territories. It's quite frustrating, I have to be honest. Like here in South Africa, these things are insanely expensive, 4,999 Rand. You know, the OG version, which released like I think 2 or 3 weeks prior to that, or this one, was a whole 1,000 Rand less. It was 3,999. Like I don't understand the price difference of 1,000 Rand. Like, you know, what is that? Like a quarter of the price or a third of the price, depending which way you look at it, being added just to this particular model. I don't know if I've missed something there or whatever, but ultimately the retail price in like North America was $200, which is like significantly less. In fact, like almost half the price of what our retail price was here. And I believe like our retail price here was very similar to what they had in Australia. So it's like, it's kind of just another barrier to entry for 4D, which is quite a difficult one to get around. But ultimately for me, you know, when I actually posted on a sneaker group that these have just dropped and I'm on my way to the store, you know, guys saying it's $5,000, like, and I'm like, you know what, it's still worth it to me. Like this shoe has a story, it's got a piece of history, being the official podium shoe. For me, like I can justify like the $5,000 spend on it. I would have loved it to be cheaper. Obviously, everyone would have loved it to be cheaper. But I really do hope that like this sort of like pricing scenario or disparity, at least between different territories around the world, can really kind of just balance itself out in some way or another, because it just makes it like really difficult, especially for guys who want to collect these things and have as many of them as possible, like yours truly over here. But yeah, that's pretty much the reality of the situation. If you do want to get yourself a pair, there are still some sizes of this Tokyo edition available on adidas.co.za, and they also have them in store. I would suggest going in store, trying these on. If you are a little bit unsure of what size you want to go for, if you don't have the OG one or whatever, then definitely, as always, that's your safest bet. But you can also you can return online as well. I don't think there's any cost to return online with Adidas here, so that's all good. But definitely just put your feet in a pair of these. Like, they are so fast. Like even seeing them on Andy here, like they're really good. But that is it for my review of the 4D Forward Tokyo edition over here. Huge shout out to the team at Adidas, Sam Handy and Stefan, who I mentioned earlier, obviously had a big role in creating the shoe. Like I just think this is such a good step in the right direction. Like if you can just get the price point right, you know, like I know it's a performance shoe. I wear it as lifestyle. I think most of us would wear it as lifestyle. I'm really excited to see where this goes now. Like, because we started here, we kind of here. I'm really interested to see where we go and you know, how they can use some of this technology that they've created, these 5 million different ladder structures, you know, to create something that's like amazing for lifestyle wear. Like I'm on my feet in the store here the entire day, and like I can definitely wear these all day, but I wonder like what all that like investment and data and all of that stuff that they have they could use to create like the ultimate lifestyle shoe. But super excited and always excited with innovation from Adidas, and really am to see what's coming next. But that's it for this review of the Adidas 4D Forward Tokyo. I hope you guys have found it helpful, enjoyable. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe right here for more content, reviews and unboxings down the line. But that is all for today, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.